Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a thorough exploration of white-collar and organized crime. We'll be unpacking key definitions, looking closely at the impacts these crimes have on society, examining the legal challenges involved, and discussing effective strategies for prevention and enforcement. I'm excited to take you through these comprehensive insights and shed light on some critical issues in this field. Let's get started. White-collar crime refers to nonviolent offenses that usually take place in business or professional environments. These crimes often involve deceit or fraud rather than physical force. On the other hand, organized crime involves structured groups that engage in ongoing illegal activities, often with a hierarchical system to manage their operations. It's important to understand both types of crime, not only to help law enforcement develop effective strategies, but also to raise public awareness about the significant impact these crimes have on society and the economy. Recognizing the differences and implications is key to addressing these challenges effectively. When we talk about white-collar crime, we're referring to nonviolent offenses usually carried out by professionals in trusted positions. These crimes include things like fraud, where someone deceives others for financial gain, embezzlement, which involves misappropriating money or property, and insider trading, where confidential information is used unfairly in the stock market. These crimes often exploit the trust placed in individuals by companies or the public. On the other hand, organized crime is more about groups that have a clear structure and hierarchy, like the mafia or drug cartels. These organizations are involved in a wide range of illegal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and other forms of coercion. Unlike white-collar crime, which tends to be individual or small-scale, organized crime operates on a larger scale with coordinated efforts to maintain control and maximize profits. Understanding these distinctions helps us grasp the different ways crime can be committed and the challenges they present to law enforcement. When we look at the differences between white-collar and organized crime, there are a few key points to keep in mind. First, the motives and scale. White-collar crime primarily targets financial gain through deceptive practices, often using complex financial systems. In contrast, organized crime not only seeks profit, but also focuses on controlling territories, operating through extensive networks that span multiple regions. Next, consider the actors and visibility. White-collar crime usually involves individuals or small groups working within professional environments. These crimes tend to be less visible and more difficult to detect because they rely on subtle manipulation. On the other hand, organized crime consists of structured groups with clear hierarchies. This type of crime is more visible, often using intimidation and violence as tools to maintain control and enforce their operations. Understanding these differences is essential for grasping how these two forms of crime function and impact society. When we talk about white-collar crime, two common examples come to mind. First, Ponzi schemes, where fraudsters manipulate investors by promising high returns but actually use incoming funds from new investors to pay earlier ones. Second, tax evasion, which involves deliberately falsifying financial records to avoid paying taxes owed. On the other hand, organized crime includes more violent and large-scale illegal activities. A prime example is drug trafficking, which involves the transportation and sale of narcotics on a massive scale. Another serious example is human trafficking, where vulnerable individuals are exploited for forced labor or sex work. Both types of crime have significant social and economic impacts, but they operate in very different ways. When we talk about actors and organizations involved in crime, two important categories come to mind. First, we have white-collar crimes. These are typically committed by corporate executives, financial professionals, or anyone who has access to privileged information. These crimes are usually nonviolent, but can cause significant financial harm through fraud, embezzlement, or insider trading. On the other hand, organized crime involves criminal networks or gangs that have a structured hierarchy. These groups operate with well-defined roles and often rely on secrecy to protect their operations. They also use violence and intimidation as enforcement tools to maintain control and carry out their illegal activities effectively. Understanding these distinctions helps us see how different types of crime are organized and executed. When we look at the methods and techniques used in these crimes, we see some key patterns. First, white-collar criminals often use cybercrime tactics, exploiting digital vulnerabilities to access sensitive information or commit fraud. Another common technique is money laundering, which is essential for hiding the origins of illegal funds and making them appear legitimate. Corruption methods, such as bribery or influence peddling, also play a significant role in these offenses. On the other hand, organized crime groups often rely on violence to maintain control and enforce their rules. This violence is closely linked with intimidation tactics, which they use to keep people in line and maintain their power. Additionally, coercion is a critical practice in these territories, ensuring that individuals or groups comply with the demands of the criminal organization. These methods, while varied, consistently serve the purpose of control, concealment, and enforcement in criminal operations. White-collar crime results in enormous economic losses amounting to billions of dollars. Beyond the financial damage, it deeply undermines public trust in institutions, making people skeptical of those who are supposed to serve and protect their interests. Additionally, these crimes can corrupt governance structures, weakening the very foundations of fair and effective leadership. This erosion of trust extends to financial markets and corporate governance, where confidence is crucial for stability and growth. On a broader scale, organized crime contributes to community harm through violence and disrupts local economies, while also threatening the rule of law, leading to widespread destabilization. All these impacts together show just how far-reaching and damaging white-collar and organized crime can be to society and the economy. When it comes to prosecuting crimes, there are several significant legal challenges that arise. First, jurisdictional challenges are a major hurdle. Many crimes don't stay within one country's borders, which creates gaps in jurisdiction and complicates prosecution efforts. Then, there's the issue of proving criminal intent. This is especially tough in complex financial crimes where intent can be hidden or difficult to demonstrate clearly. Finally, witness protection is a critical concern. In cases involving organized crime, witnesses often face serious risks of retaliation, so ensuring their safety is essential for the prosecution to move forward effectively. These challenges show just how complicated legal processes can be in these cases. When it comes to prevention and enforcement, there are three key strategies that stand out. First, establishing robust regulatory laws is crucial. Strong laws create a clear framework that not only deters criminal activity, but also provides the tools needed to take effective action against offenders. Next, fostering international cooperation plays a vital role. Crime often crosses borders, so working closely with other countries helps close enforcement gaps and allows for a coordinated response. Lastly, enhancing intelligence gathering and sharing across agencies is essential. By improving how we collect and share information, we can better detect criminal networks and dismantle their operations before they cause further harm. These strategies together form a comprehensive approach to tackling complex enforcement challenges. Let's look at some real-world examples to better understand white-collar and organized crime. First, the Enron scandal is a classic case of white-collar crime. Here, corporate fraud and manipulation of accounting records led to massive financial losses for investors and employees. This scandal not only shook the financial world, but also prompted important reforms in corporate oversight and regulations to prevent similar abuses. On the other hand, we have Mexican drug cartels as a stark example of organized crime. These groups are heavily involved in drug trafficking and have far-reaching impacts that include widespread violence and corruption. Their influence extends beyond Mexico's borders, affecting regional and international security, which highlights the complexity and severity of organized crime operations. These two cases show how white-collar and organized crimes operate differently, but both have significant consequences for society. White-collar and organized crimes present some of the most complex challenges we face today. Addressing them is not straightforward and demands a coordinated effort between policymakers and enforcement agencies. To effectively mitigate these crimes, it's crucial to strengthen our legal frameworks, enhance international collaboration, and raise public awareness. By taking these essential steps, we can better protect the integrity of our society moving forward, ensuring a safer and more just environment for everyone.